Hello, I am Donnie and I am the cute one.
And I'm Chelsea, and I'm the cute one.
TGIF, cuties.
TGIF. We made it. You made it.
Barely. Thursday was pressing me. So let's just get right into it.
Sure. We have not talked for like 2 days because I was sending you text messages, and unbeknownst to me, you were not receiving said text messages.
I'll get into the story in a second, but I was not getting text messages from anyone. I didn't have a phone that worked for 24 hours. So in that time, like, my insides want to text boys that I'm talking to and saying like, hey, don't know if you texted me yesterday, but just in case. And I sent that to you. I sent that to my family. I sent that to whatever. But then for a boy, it does feel like a little Donnie from the past.
Well, I feel like you can give it a minute, and then if there is an organic thing that comes up that you can text the boys, then you can say like, hey, this also yesterday was crazy. I didn't have my phone. It got sent to the cloud or whatever.
Perfect. Okay. So Sunday, I went to a Gossip Girl brunch that was at the hotel where Chuck Bass's hotel is. And I'll get into that in a little bit. But my phone, the camera has been cracked in a long time. And I was like, this is the perfect event to be an influencer for. So let me get my camera fixed. I have Apple Care, so it would be covered, whatever. I can get a brand new phone. So I made my little appointment at the Genius Bar at the Apple Store. And they said, come on in, we'll fix it. I got there and they said, oh yeah, we can give you a new one. We don't even need to fix it. We'll give you a brand new one, but we don't have the kind of phone you have in the store. And Apple is very strict with like whatever phone you have is what they give you. They can't give you a different color, a different whatever.
That was part of my problem when I wanted to just jump to the same phone because guess what? My phone was from the year 2015.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So they said, we'll order it. It'll be here in like a week. So that was Sunday. They messaged me Wednesday, but I had a busy day Wednesday, couldn't go. So then I showed up Thursday morning. And I had a Mets game to go to at 1 o'clock. So I went at 10 o'clock.
Because you're a baseball boy now.
I am, and we'll get into that too. I really did have a week. So at 10 o'clock, I arrived at the Apple Store. At 12 at the latest, I had to leave. And I was like, that's plenty of time. I'll even have time to get myself a breakfast in between. Didn't. I was at the Apple Store until 12:30. They tried everything. First, they transferred the phone, so my old information to my new phone. Then everything transferred except the number. And they were like, oh, that happens sometimes. No big deal.
That's what happened to me. But mine was like a 6-hour period of having no phone number.
Well, this was reversed then. You know how you got hit by a car, I got hit by a bike, your house burned down, my house smoked up? This was the opposite. You had the good version, and I had the big boy bad one. So my phone number didn't transfer. So they said, oh, let's get T-Mobile on the phone, because that's what the app said. It said, oh, we can't transfer it, call T-Mobile. We called T-Mobile, and they said, oh, we can't do it either. He has to come in the store with his ID. So I went to the T-Mobile store with my ID, but first I had the Mets game. So then like 4 hours pass in between. Then right before work, I go to the T-Mobile store with my ID, and they say, oh, no, this is a phone issue. So then I said, So then I went to work last night. I was so excited. Last night, I don't know the people that know this, but I work 4 shifts long. Like, I work the full show, and then 4 shifts a week. I only have to be there to take tickets, and then I get to leave. And yesterday was one of those days, which meant I would have been home by 8 to watch a double eviction episode.
I know.
Thrilled. Wasn't home in time to watch a double eviction episode because I had to go back to the Apple Store, and they kept me after close. They closed at 9 p.m. They kept me till 10.
That's crazy.
And because they took my phone to fix it, I didn't have anything to do. I didn't have a book, couldn't watch Big Brother,
nothing. God, you needed like the back of a shampoo bottle to read.
I read a receipt first, and then I was like, maybe I should go like look, because they do have like phones on the wall. I can like look around, whatever. And I was like, you know what? And this is crazy, Chelsea. I know it, but it is what it is. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to read anything. I'm not even going to talk to other people. I'm not going to read anything because this is practice for the Big Brother house.
Oh, okay.
So then it was just me and my thoughts.
So were you just whispering to yourself?
Not whispering, but like thinking if I was in the game right now, what I would be thinking in the house. Like who I would want out, how I can make that happen, what moves people should be making. If you can't go to Big Brother, bring Big Brother to you, you know? That's what they always say.
I guess it's a lifestyle. Who needs guided meditation or mindfulness when you can just picture yourself in the Big Brother house? I am proud of you, though, for not being in the corner like, okay, I'm waiting for my phone now, and I really need to get these people out, and yeah, we got to get the votes. We got to get the votes.
But that's not the end of my tale, Chelsea. They didn't fix my phone and then say, here's your number. They fixed my phone and said, oh, unfortunately, T-Mobile is closed, so you can't have a number until the morning. So then today I had to go back to the T-Mobile store and
I know. I was preparing to like give the old razzle dazzle da 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 by myself on Instagram Live because this is just proof in my file folder of evidence that I change my phone like once every 10 years because I'm not dealing with any of that. So I fully was expecting you to be out of commission all day again today. And today it made it even worse because I had to go to the T-Mobile store and get my new number fixed or whatever. But they released the iPhone 17 today. They opened at 10 o'clock. I was there at 10 o'clock, and I was 7th in line. Yeah, luckily you were going to the Mets game, and so I did have some indication that you were getting a new phone, because I think I would have been way more concerned about you not responding had you not texted me pictures of random men that play baseball and said, hey, can you hold on to these pictures for me because I'm about to get a new phone and I'm going to need you to send them back to me so that I can post them and objectify them in my story. So luckily I did have some knowledge that there was like a phone situation going on.
And at one point, the guy, Alan, was very nice at the Apple store. Not helpful. Nobody was helpful, but they were all very nice. But Alan was very nice. And at one point, he had to go in my internet. And I was like, Alan, I don't know what you're going to find. And he said, he was like,
careful,
no.
Alan.
Yeah, I was like, give me the phone, Alan. And he was like, no, it's cool. He said, the other day, someone came in and shook my hand, introduced himself. And then I was like, what can I do for you? And he said, well, I was looking at porn and my screen froze. And he was like, and he shook my hand first. So then we had the little thing. He tried to help me. We were on the phone with T-Mobile. And then at the end, he said goodbye to me. We shook hands and I said, don't worry, I didn't look at porn today. We had a good laugh about that, me and Alan. I tried, Chelsea, to focus on the positive of my week. You know, I'm a person, if something is bad, it kind of tarnishes the whole day. So I did go to the Mets game in the middle of the day, and I had a lovely time. I was in the owner's box.
The owners of the Mets?
Yeah.
What life do you live?
You don't need to know how I got there. You just need to know I was in the owner's box.
This is, again, and we're jumping ahead to my week, but once again, the juxtaposition of the lives that we live. And I think this is part of the magic of the podcast. It's just two friends in completely different worlds, because you're about to tell us about the owner's box, and I'm about to go on a rant about the way that they're teaching math in elementary schools these days.
I know, but I love that because that's such a world foreign to me that I really do enjoy the tales of Coco and Sapphire.
But anyway, back to the owner's box.
Yeah, so I was in the owner's box. For a second, there are some events I go to with like open bars and stuff where it makes me want to relapse just because I feel like I'm missing out. Not because like I'm like, I need a drink, but because like, why am I going to be here and order a Diet Coke when I can be ordering anything, top shelf open bar? They were making espresso martinis back there, but I did just have a Diet Coke, don't worry. My second one, I asked them to put grenadine in it for a little cherry Coke flavor.
Oh, love that.
Yeah. And then I had a bottle of water. And then even though I took my GLP-1 shot in the morning, I was like, I'll worry about it when I can't sleep at night because I'm pooping all night. Right now, if I can't drink, I need to eat my weight in owner's box tickets. So I had 2 pieces of sushi, 2 chicken tenders, 2 soft pretzel nuggets, a smash burger, cheesesteak, and a lobster roll, and an ice cream cone.
Wow, you're like the very hungry caterpillar. During inning 1, he ate 1 cookie. During inning 2, he had 2 pieces of sushi.
That's me. But I had the time of my life. I will say, being in the owner's box changed the vibe a little bit because the owner was there, too. So I couldn't really be
the owner of the Mets.
Yeah. It's a couple, a man and a woman, and the woman was there.
Wow.
And then some man, I don't think it's the husband, some really tan man. I'm going to Google tan man that has to do with the Mets. This really tan man, I was charging my phone at one point, hoping that when I turned it on, I would have a phone number. I was charging my phone and I went over, I said, do you mind unplugging that for me? And he gave it and he said, there's a lot of new pictures on it now. And I was like, oh, nothing I haven't seen before. He was kidding. But I was like, nothing I haven't seen before. And he was like, I know, I was trying to get in and see it. And I was like, well, who are you in this world? Before I decide if this is just jokey or not, if you're the other co-owner of the Mets, I'll show you the pictures.
Yeah, you could have your own Coldplay scandal.
Yeah. But this week, besides the Mets game, I tried, Chelsea, to live sometimes. If it brings it to me, Victor said, look in the mirror and say Tan Man 3 times. I will after this. So sometimes I like to remind myself I do live in New York. For a long time throughout my marriage, I lived a suburban life where all we did was watch Real Housewives and Netflix, and I didn't get to experience the world out there. All I did was bitch about how much rent is. But now I say, if I'm going to bitch about how much rent is, I might as well experience the city outside my window.
Get the bang for your buck.
Yeah.
Make every dollar of that rent count.
Yeah, so I went to that Gossip Girl Experience brunch. I went to the Mets Owner's Box. Schmackery's, my favorite cookie in the Hell's Kitchen area, had a Salt Lake City premiere tie-in where I got a real cookie too, like one with like toffee and white macadamia nuts and all that stuff. But then for
your taste continues to be that of an 84-year-old man.
I love a white macadamia nut cookie.
With toffee?
Love toffee too. Yeah. So it was called like Hawaiian Island or something. It was cute. So then, okay, it was what are these ones called? Sugar? No, a shortbread cookie. They had a shortbread cookie.
Why did you just do like Lamaze breathing?
Because I knew it started with an S and I knew there was an H in it too. So I got the S out of the way and then said, and that got me to Hortbread.
I see.
Yeah, so it had a shortbread cookie and then a little lemon frosting in like a dollop, like that. And then on top, Meredith Marks brand caviar. I loved it. Yeah, because caviar is not really a fishy taste. It just is very salty. So the salt made the sweetness pop more.
Okay.
Yeah,
I still have never had caviar, but I love salty things, so I really think I would enjoy it.
Next time I'm over, let's order caviar from a grocery store. And then you have to, number one, eat it with Pringles. That's what they do on Real Housewives of New York, and I love it. But then what they did at the U.S. Open, which I started to do now, if you order chicken McNuggets from McDonald's and then put caviar on top, it's very good.
Huh.
Yeah.
All right.
The cheaper the chicken nugget, the better the caviar tastes.
Love that.
And then I also, one more thing about my New York week, I saw the Stranger Things prequel on Broadway. The special effects were incredible. Now, I've never watched Stranger Things before, so this is a prequel. So it does stand on its own, and I could just take the show in and not be like, what? I will say there were a lot of things happening that, like, at the end of Act 1, a new character comes in, and the whole audience said, and I was like, okay. I don't know who that is. But then I asked the people around me, who's that? And that was very nice. But then I watched an interview today because now it's all in my algorithm. Stranger Things on Broadway, Stranger Things on Broadway. And the lead girl said there's a lot of Easter eggs for the upcoming season in the Broadway show. One last thing about my week, and then we'll truly get into you. Stranger Things was good. Go see it. Yesterday, when I got home, my ex helped me because I tried to do my phone number from home, from the T-Mobile app. And it was like, okay, to verify it's you, we're going to text you. I was like, I don't have a phone number. What are you texting? So then he came. We tried to call T-Mobile together, but I don't remember passwords because I have them all saved at the touch of my finger. Like, I don't. Yeah, so you living in the 1800s, you would have never fell for that. You would have been perfect. But I was like, I don't know anything. So it really helped us both remember, like, there are reasons we're divorced. And, like, I understand that he was helping me, and I am appreciative of that. But he's a very, like, I told you so, like, this shouldn't have happened because if you wouldn't have done this, and this, we wouldn't have got here, like those kinds of things. So those things don't need to be said when I spent 6.5 hours in stores and still don't have anything from it. So, like, I was on the verge of tears and being a massive C word to him the whole time. But he still kept doing those kind of things. So then, like, he was annoyed, I was crying, I was annoyed, he was being himself. So at the end of the day, we agreed, thank God we're not together.
Well, I'm glad that you have that affirming knowledge every now and again to remind you. But yeah, it is hard to get that feedback. Like, I feel like there reaches a point sometimes where one person has made a mistake or has done something, and I'm always that person that, like, I very rarely anticipate the consequences of my own actions. And so when those consequences show up, there has to be an unsaid agreement that if Dr. Bald's going to help me, we both know that this is the consequence of an action and that I'm aware of it and I'm a learn by experience type of gal. And we can't go back in time. We just have to work forward together of how to get me out of this hole I've dug myself.
That's my favorite motto.
But I do feel like couples, along with like going to counseling before they get married, I saw a thread that I couldn't agree with more. I do think that couples have to like go to IKEA together, assemble a desk, and then assemble a tent. Even if you're not campers, I feel like assembling a tent together really tells you, like, is this going to last?
Yeah. During COVID, Quinn and I bought a lot of furniture with our checks that came in, and we fought every time.
Well, sometimes signs are there.
Yeah.
Speaking of signs being there, let's talk about math.
Let's.
Because this week, you were going through it with the phone. I was going through it with the generational trauma of sitting at a kitchen table and crying during math homework.
But it was you crying both times.
Yeah, at least we're breaking the cycle enough that it wasn't Coco crying doing her third grade math. It was me trying to figure out now the way they're teaching math with new math. I couldn't even do old math, Donnie. And I'm somebody that truly, math makes me break out in hives. And I don't know if it's because of those timetables things that we used to have to do where they would like click the timer and then you had to say 6 times 1, 6 times 2, and it was all memorization and I could never do it. And I always
still don't know
crying.
6, 7, or 8.
No.
I'm good with 1 through 5 and I'm good with 9 because of the little trick. But 6, 7, and 8, I couldn't tell you. Except 7 and 7 I know is 49.
Yeah,
so
but
then
that just feels right.
Yeah. So then I tried to work around it. Like, 7 times 8 must be 7 more than 49.
Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah.
So I actually do think that now that I've gotten the lay of the land of new math, I feel like maybe if I had learned it this way, I wouldn't feel the way I do about math. But I'm actively trying not to pass on the math trauma to Coco, who is pretty good at math. We were really going through it because it's like adding different sums. So you're doing 4 math problems to solve 1 math problem. I couldn't handle it. Now,
Well.
the next thing and last thing I need to announce. There's big news in the Rivers household. We are getting a puppy.
I want to respond because this is a podcast, so anyone listening later needs to hear. But I also have all eyes on the chat because I feel like if this was a real talk show, the audience would lose their mind.
Be like, woo! Yeah, so it has been a couple months since we lost Lonnie. So I had not felt ready, and I had not felt like I was wanting to take that on. Now, we did watch Beethoven II recently, and I said that it was going to push my timeline back, but instead, I do think it just made me be like, I could do that again. And so on a whim, last weekend, I said, let me just browse. And within 30 minutes, I had put down the application fee for the cutest little girl in the world. She is 4 months old. She's white. She's a mutt. Her and her sisters were found in a bush, abandoned, because people are the worst. And we are naming her Aunt Becky.
I have told people this tale. Chelsea's getting a new dog. I'm so excited for her, whatever. And then when they say, what's her name? I say, well, right now her name's, what is it, Jean? I'm like, right now it's Jean. But she and I, every time I tell the story, it's like a monologue that I've perfected. I pause at this point and say, I really do hate Chelsea. And then I say, Aunt Becky.
When the girls are saying Aunt Becky, though, they say, her name's Aunt Becky. It's a character from a really, really, really old TV show. But it truly, Donnie, as I was scrolling, looking at all the cute puppies, none of the dogs called to me until I saw Jean. And literally, I gasped and to myself said, Aunt Becky. I've never thought, this isn't on like a list of, and we recently talked about how I love to give dogs like full government names, but I saw her and I just said Aunt Becky from Full House.
The one that famously is in hot water in real life.
That's not Aunt Becky. That's the woman who plays her.
Well, I'm going to call her when I'm there and Aunt Becky is, if Aunt Becky is poorly behaved in the beginning, she has a puppy, so she's allowed to be. But if she nibbles on my shoes, I will be calling her Lori Laughlin.
Yeah. You're acting like a real Lori right now, not a Becky. So we get her tomorrow. and I'm sure I'll have many tales to tell because the girls don't know what's about to hit them because they were born and Lonnie was already 6 years old, very well trained. Like, Donnie, you met Lonnie when she was not. She turned a certain age and said, I'm getting too old for this shit.
Yeah.
I'm not going to deign to follow the rules anymore. But, like, Lonnie used to be so good. We could leave food out, like, on the coffee table, and she would just sit there. She was the best dog. And so the girls are used to that version of a dog. And so I had to have a conversation with them, like, you're going to need to not leave your toys around. You're going to need to not leave food around. Like, this is a puppy and we're going to be teaching her. And Coco goes, well, maybe I'll write a note that says kids' toys, not Aunt Becky's toys. And I said, Coco, if Aunt Becky doesn't know to not eat a Barbie, do you think that Aunt Becky knows how to read? And she goes, well, when does she learn that? And I have many follow-up questions about, like, what she thought Lonnie was capable of.
What if she was writing notes to Lonnie?
The whole time. But yeah, I'm sure there will be lots of tales to come.
I can't wait. Before we get into headlines, which I can't wait for you to hear what I've brought.
Oh, goodness.
I do want to talk about Movie of the Year, and that is not even a joke. Truly, if it is not nominated for things, if it does not win things, it will win the Donnie Movie of the Year on I Am the Cute One end of the year recap. But Twinless, Chelsea? Twinless is...
One thing I really love about you is, again, your joy brings me joy, and you go to the movies more than any person I know. You watch new shows, new movies more than any person I know. And every time you present the latest recommendation, you talk about it being the best thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, but we're not going back in time.
It truly just keeps getting better and better for you.
Remember how much I loved Lurker?
Yeah.
This is what Lurker wanted to be and added so much more.
Oh, no.
It's about, and what I'm about to tell you is spoiling only the first 15 minutes.
Okay, that's fine. And I think Cuties in the chat, we can all agree that recommendations from here on out, we're going to spoil up to the first quarter of it. And then we'll give you a couple weeks, and then we can always circle back to talk about it, like for Cutie of the Week or just general conversations.
Yes. There's a twin support group, and like when one of your twin dies, you can join the support group and talk to these other people that have also lost twins, because like forever you've been part of a +1, you've been part of a +1, and now at age like 19 or 20 or whatever, then suddenly you're single out in the world. So like that is traumatic and something to deal with, whatever. So there's the main guy, and he's straight, but he had a gay twin, and then he meets a gay guy at the thing. And they're like, oh, let's be friends. And, like, they start to, like, become brotherly and whatever. And then, again, this is still the first 15 minutes. Okay. Then you find out the gay one that he meets at the meeting had a one-night stand with the main guy's twin brother and became obsessed with him. And then when the twin brother died, then he wanted to continue, like, a relationship with him, but he's dead. So now he pretends to have a twin in the twin support group. But what's really cool is so many movies like this, I feel like any other movie like this, that would be revealed in the last 5 minutes. Like after you have seen them become brotherly and this and that, and then you find out, oh my God, it was all fake. You follow him this whole time, like trying to hide the fact that he doesn't have a twin and like getting in hot water because he introduces
so stressful
people.
To me.
I know, I loved it. Truly movie of the year.
So one more reminder, we are obviously live on YouTube right now. If you're listening to the replay of the video will also be available on YouTube in the entirety and then the edited form also. And we are on Patreon as well, patreon.com/I'mTheCuteOne. Right now we're covering Desperate Housewives, but we've got a lot of stuff cooking over on the Patreon. And the chat has been lit lately.
The chat has been lit, and if you're not part of the Passions Book Club, this is the week to join. Chapter 21 is a page from Tabitha's diary entitled Timmy and the Underground Railroad.
Yeah, I've been dipping in and out of the book club. I know that there are some members that are diehard and have been chatting with you each and every week, but when I saw the title of that chapter, I thought to myself, And Cuties, you might be wondering, and let me save it for you. Yes. Pretty much exactly what you would expect it to be.
It is. I'll give you the first line. Timmy thought you would be interested to know why the Russell and Crane family have such a history. The Russells are the black family. The Cranes are the rich white ones. So that's why they have a history.
Yep. But at least Tabitha was on the right side of history.
She was. Timmy, too.
Timmy, too.
So this week, a Dreamgirls revival was announced for Broadway for 2026. The new season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City premiered. The United States declared free speech isn't a thing anymore. A Babysitter's Club musical was announced. Central Park from Friends is getting its first ever permanent location in Times Square. Hacks announced its final season. And Big Brother gave us a double eviction. Possibly the only good one ever.
When you keep saying that, because I know, like you said earlier, you haven't actually watched the episode. Are you just talking about like the results?
Yeah.
Okay.
The results.
Yeah.
I always lose my two favorites. Like the cookout season, I lost Hannah and Tiffany. It's always like my two main.
Now, really quick, I do want to talk about the Zingbot of it all, because that was 2 episodes ago. And I feel like Zingbot really came out with a bang.
I agree. Do you think this was truly the end of Zingbot?
No.
Oh, it's a robot. They can put a new system in him.
Yeah, I feel like he'll get rebooted, or maybe that means that they're just going to like redo what he looks like in the future. Yeah. But I feel like Zingbot, when we talk about the psychological warfare of Big Brother, I feel like Zingbot is a really important character. Zingbot is iconic because it makes everybody in the house uncomfortable, like just when they were getting comfortable. Or it also like reminds the people that they are being watched 24/7 and that America is perceiving them in a certain type of way, just at a time where I feel like it's normalized that they're on a show and they've almost like forgotten about being seen. People were spiraling.
They were, but what I don't like about Zingbot is they don't always like tell the truth. Like Morgan and Vince, yes, they did. And Lauren, yes, they did. But Ashley, no one would say she's unforgettable or boring. Like that's not what the fan base says about her.
Yeah, but I think that that's also production. Zingbot's purpose is to light a fire under people of what production wants for them. So this is going to make Ashley turn it up. Like she gave one speech to Keanu, and that's production being like, that wasn't iconic. You thought it was. You were saying how much you ate, and that was cringy. The audience didn't like that, which is true. And so that's going to make her want to become a bigger star. Same as them telling Lauren she's boring.
Well, now Ashley is fighting with production on live feeds. She and I think Ava were in a room talking, but they were both in bed with sunglasses on and blankets up to their neck. And Big Brother was like, no naps. And Ashley was like, if you hear our voice, how are we napping?
I love it.
I know.
But also production has had it out for Ashley and Ava from the beginning. I'll never get over them getting scolded like little girls of put her down when they were like lifting each other up in the bathroom.
She was talking about something else with production and they said, give it a rest.
I do love that. I wish I could have that job where I could just be the like headless voice that pops in and like inserts myself into things.
Well, you know we have that sound box that you never use, so you do have that job.
What sound box?
Exactly. When every 3 weeks you play a clip.
Which thing do you feel like was the worst for this year?
Morgan's.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Ashley's was brutal just because it was so long.
Yeah.
And I wish they would have zinged Vince more, because that's all of the stuff that he himself has been like self-deprecating about.
But that's what I like about it. I love when they are able to basically give someone 2 zings. Like Vince got the one he got, but then he also got Morgan's.
But after Morgan, literally, they say, what do you call somebody who lights up when Vince enters the room, gives him long, passionate hugs and affectionate cuddles? And she goes, his number one? No, his girlfriend, zing! And she immediately gets up and, like, starts doing chores.
Yeah, it was wonderful to watch.
Yeah. I do feel like, and I've said this before, and then I know we'll get to headlines, but I do feel like Vince is somebody who has always been a sneaky slime ball his whole life, but he's never been recorded, and certainly not recorded in the way that Big Brother records, because he is the type of person that he believes that if he says something enough times, it becomes true. But him just bold-faced saying, like, well, I hope America doesn't think this. Like, we're on camera 24/7. I hope they don't think I'm doing something sneaky. It's like, you literally responded to Zingbot talking about your long hugs by giving Morgan a too long of hug. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
Well, shall we move on to headlines?
Sure.
Do you want to go first or second?
You can go first.
Okay. Mine's not really a headline. It's more I want to celebrate the Jen Affleck renaissance that's happening.
Okay.
Because Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is about to come out. They're dropping trailers. We're getting hints of things to come. And she is really getting her bag. And I hope that this is her getting her ducks in a row to leave that terrible gremlin Malfoy of a man that she's married to. But right now, she's currently on Dancing with the Stars, 2 months postpartum, which I did not realize that baby was that young, that she's out here shaking her ass. I'm like, good for you for not being still in a diaper, honestly, for you to be out there. So she's on Dancing with the Stars, but more importantly, she's got that Dunkin' sponsorship. Did you see that commercial?
I did. I even shared it to my stories. And famously, I've never watched Secret Lives of Mormon Wives. I've never seen this woman's face before. But I still knew it was iconic.
I love when people can lean into the joke.
Me
and
too.
She was funny in that commercial.
Yeah.
She talks about how she's Jen Affleck, the value Affleck. And then talks about how, like, Ben is old and like a harsh 52. I love that she's leaning in, and I love that she's reclaiming something that could have been something super embarrassing for her, but it should never have been embarrassing for her, because the whole thing, Donnie, is that season 1, she said she married into a family and her husband is like a distant cousin of Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
Then obviously people did their thing on the internet, and a quick Google search and Ancestry.com, they are not related. They just have the same last name. So then her husband threw her under the bus, and basically in season 2 tried to say, like, I never said that. It's embarrassing that you're telling everybody this. And she very clearly is like, you told me this. Your dad told me this. Like, this was part of the family lore when I married into this family. Like, why are you mad at me for saying it? And basically they had this weird, like, on-camera conversation where they were both speaking in code about it. But it never should have been embarrassing for her. It should have been embarrassing for him, because you clearly lied about this to your wife.
Right.
So I'm glad that she's getting that bag, and I hope she leaves that man.
It's not the same thing, but this is what the girl from Love is Blind should have done. She should have got a sponsorship alongside Megan Fox, because Ben Affleck shows up in the commercial.
Yeah, and they have like a funny little back and forth.
Yeah.
Whoever was responsible for that commercial is brilliant, because he comes off super likable too.
Yeah.
Where he's like, I'm 52, just middle of the road, 52.
Well, his Dunkin' sponsorship is good anyway, because he had another one before, I think, with Jennifer Lopez.
And, you know, I love a person who endorses the products they actually use.
Yes.
And one thing about those paparazzi photos, that man is drinking his Dunkin'. America runs on Dunkin', but most of all, Ben Affleck runs on Dunkin'.
Unless it was a long con all along, and that was just, he was always a sponsor.
It was just guerrilla marketing of him looking disheveled and sad in the streets holding his piles of Dunkin'.
Now, something I was doing in the streets, Chelsea, this week is reading over people's shoulders. So my headline is not a headline so much as a discussion topic. Do you think it's inappropriate to read over the shoulder of someone in public, like on the train or at a park, when they're on their phone?
So this tells me why you love those lurker movies, because that is so creepy.
No,
I
but
imagine
Chelsea,
you in a park behind a tree, like
not
peering over.
Okay, I say park, but that's because not everyone takes the subway. But really, what happened was I was standing and I looked down, and it just happened to be at the start of the conversation. Like, it might have as well said once upon a time, because I was like, oh, well, now I have to. Like, this is fate that I've been dropped into this at the start of this. She was on ChatGPT, and her question to ChatGPT said, my husband's affair partner has a husband of 20 years. Should I tell the husband or not? So ChatGPT said, there are a few factors we should look into with this. Number 1, your motive.
Number 1, what decision are you already going to make so that I can regurgitate it back to you? Because that's what I'm actually programmed to do.
Now, you say that all the time, and I do think a part of it is true. But sometimes, Chelsea, you don't go to ChatGPT with a preconceived thought. When I said which Desperate Housewife would win Big Brother, I didn't think it would be Brie.
You did call ChatGPT an idiot when it answered you wrong. So maybe it learned from that, and the next time that you ask, the correct person will be crowned.
You know what? You're right. So it said, let's handle this. Your motivations are number 1. Are you doing it because you think the husband should know, or are you doing it to blow up your husband's affair? That's number 1. I don't know what number 2 and 3 were. They weren't as important. Number 4 was the timing. It was like, and this one, I was like, you know what, ChatGPT? That's how I live. Maybe it's me at ChatGPT, and that's why I'm so defensive about it. Because it was like, the timing. Do you have anything important with your husband coming up that this would ruin? Maybe you should hold on to it.
Any presents you might be receiving soon?
Yeah, I was like, holding on to this is my favorite thing. So I guess we can talk about what I saw, if people want to talk about that. But what I really want to know is, am I in the wrong for reading over the shoulder? Because you also may remember I started reading The Hunger Games when someone else was reading it. Again, on page 1.
I don't know which is worse. I think reading a book over someone's shoulders, as long as you're not like tapping them and saying like, sorry, I wasn't done with that page. Can you turn back?
Yeah.
I also think like eyesight is important. Like you having your contacts or glasses in so that you can see from afar and that you're not like right next to them.
No, I had my contacts in. She had no idea I was looking over her shoulder reading this. She was going through it. She was reading on her journey. But also a very important factor, and I would have done it no matter what. Once I saw those words, my husband's affair partner has a husband of 20 years, I was like, okay, I'm in it. I'm in this. But you also have to remember, I had no phone.
True. But you know what? This speaks to living a phone-free existence every now and again, because you probably would never have had the experience of this woman's journey had you been on your own phone.
That's true. But I did have a long day. So after I read what it was going through, then a seat opened up directly across from her. So I beelined it and sat across from her. And then the whole ride, Chelsea, she was like this.
Oh, no.
Whatever ChatGPT was telling her, she was really thinking about it. And then she would go right back and forth. Like when it was like, does your husband have anything big coming up that the timing would ruin? She's like, yes. So then it was like, okay, here's what we think. It was like, would you like some ideas of how we would bring it up in conversation? She's like, please.
Oh, no. Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, I think as long as you are not encroaching on the person's
she had
personal
no idea.
Space, it's
Lurker.
no different. It's just a different sense. It's the same as you bet your bottom dollar. If a couple starts fighting next to me at dinner, I tell Dr. Bald, you need to shut up because I'm listening to what's going on over here. You and I having conversations is not as important as hearing what this couple's fighting about. So if I can use my ears to eavesdrop, you can use your eyes to see what this woman is typing to ChatGPT.
Thank you. I have been told my whole life my eyes are my best feature. Might as well use them.
I've heard that before. And Megan in the comments says, in a perfect world, she would have crowdsourced an answer in the subway and you would have been able to give your opinions. That would be a perfect world.
So I was just ready. I had time to think about it. If she would have said, does anyone have an idea? I was like, actually, I've been thinking about it for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah. If your husband has a big work party, may I suggest a slideshow of all of the photos?
So that's my headline. From my head, actually. Chelsea, I have to get into Cutie of the Week.
Okay, go for it.
The Glee cast on Weakest Link was on this week. The Glee reunion. It just brought me so much joy, first of all. They're themselves. They don't play their characters. But it was so nice to see them all again. And Jane Lynch was so cool because she is the host of The Weakest Link, which famously is a snarky host. Like, it was originally that British woman. You are the Weakest Link.
You are the Weakest Link. Goodbye.
Yeah, but now it's Jane Lynch being sassy, which is just her being Sue Sylvester. So to have Sue Sylvester basically be Sue Sylvester with Glee members was so fun to watch again. In between every round, she says something sassy and Glee related, whatever. And she said, some of the cast on the show used it to jumpstart their fame and the rest are here with me tonight. Like that kind of stuff.
Uh-huh.
I loved it.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you were able to enjoy the Gleeks. And I guess let's get another Patreon plug out of the way. I have agreed after we're done covering Season 2 of Desperate Housewives, which we're rounding the corner. We're getting close to the end. I have agreed that I'm going to let Donnie pick 3 to 5 chaotic, random Glee episodes through the ages where he's just going to give me the lore drop before we recap an episode of here's what you missed on Glee and catch me up so then we're able to cover some of the most chaotic hits. So if you have any recommendations, Donnie has said repeatedly he might not listen, but he might.
Yeah.
So my cutie of the week is the I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. So I'm going to just give a disclaimer right here, cuties. We saved this for last because I'm going to be talking about spoilers. So if you have not watched this reboot and you want to, see yourself out, circle back when you have.
Love you like a sister.
Love you like a sister. Monday's episode is 7. What's in the box? We'll see you there. Okay. If everyone's gone now. I loved it, Donnie.
It's so good.
Well, number one, I'm an idiot because I truly did not realize it was the same name. Because I texted you and I said, I'm going to watch I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. And you said, great. And then you said, wait, are you talking about like the one we just covered on the show, or are you talking about the new one? And then I said, oh, no, the new one. So the fact that it literally has the same name, it was a reboot. Like, it was a redo, but they did it in such a clever way. Like, I feel like it captured the essence of a 90s horror movie, because I do not like horror movies except for movies in that time period. The only horror movies I've liked recently are the one with Nicole Byers that was like that Halloween movie, and then that time travel movie with Sally Draper.
Oh, yeah.
That we both loved. That's because both of those captured the like campy horror of it all. And I feel like this movie did. And I feel like it could bring in new audiences that don't know what to expect. But then the people who have watched the original like knew what was happening, and then not only knew what was happening and could kind of like pick up on the parallels or what they were trying to do. But every time there was like a twist or it didn't turn out the way I was expecting, I was excited by it.
Yeah. And that's what I liked, is that they paid homage to the original. Like, the chase through the department store was there, and like the steam room scene was there. Like, big iconic moments from the first were there, but not done in the same way as they were in the original.
It was like you could tell what they were referencing.
Yes.
But even with the long chase, I was like, oh, well, so she's dead because that's what happened with Sarah Michelle Gellar. But then when it didn't happen, I would have been perfectly satisfied had it ended that way. But the fact it didn't, and there was a change up, made me excited and like drew me back in too.
Now, I will say the end, and cuties, if you're still here now but don't want to be spoiled, I'm like spoiling it. I do feel like the last like 5 minutes were just like tacked on, and that's when I was like, okay. The blonde girl was my favorite character. Top tier favorite character, but she died. And like, we're here to see a horror movie. She died. She got hooked in the chest and thrown over a ship. Like, she's dead. So then for her to come back and like cough on the beach and then be seen at a hospital the next scene and be like, are you hungry? I haven't eaten all day. Like, no. This is where we start to lose.
The divas are up.
Yeah. Okay, I do love that.
I loved it. The twist ending was great too.
I agree. And a lot of people don't think so. Like, it was very divisive, but I loved it.
I thought that they were able to pull it off, because
me too.
When we first see Jennifer Love Hewitt again and we see that picture and he's been like cropped out of it, I was like, oh, they're divorced. And I love the idea that like trauma changes us, and clearly this guy went in a wrong direction. But I kind of love, it kind of goes back to everything we said when we covered the first two movies about like, these two people should not get married. Like, these two people are not compatible. And so I love that that played out. And I believed his motive. Like, it didn't just feel like out of nowhere he was the bad guy all along. It made sense of like, from his point of view, he's doing the right thing by doing right by that girl's dad.
Yes. And if you rewatch it, like, all the things that we think are one way, like when he's like, you're going to get out of here, okay? You, like, I want you to get out of this. You think he means like survive, but really he means like not get caught.
Right.
Like, we're going to end this together and then you can just live your life. What lost me was, not lost me, I watched it 7 times in theater, so I clearly wasn't lost. But when the podcaster died, if Ray's motive was, he was upset that the town was covering what happened to them and like trying to make it a resort town, and he wants their truth exposed, the podcaster was exposing that truth, down to the fact that like this mayor or whatever, police chief, was hiding everything. So like, why your only ally are you killing?
That's true.
Yeah. That didn't make sense.
That didn't make sense. And maybe they were just playing into the horror movie trope of like, the slutty girl goes first, you know, like, but yeah, that is true, that she would be the one you think that would be like lasting till the end, because she's the one that's actually making people remember what happened in that town.
Right.
But I actually thought the twist made the movie make more sense, because when you see like word for word, beat for beat, it's starting over again. At first I was like, well, this is so dumb. Like, of course everybody should know what this was. But then it made sense. Of course the police is covering it up. Of course nobody's referencing it going on the first time. And it makes sense that it's like insider baseball of knowing all of the beats because he lived it the first time.
And now we have to talk about what we have to talk about. So Jennifer Love Hewitt spoiled the Brandy reveal because, and Brandy did too. So the day the movie came out, Brandy posted a picture of her and Jennifer Love Hewitt from the second movie. I was like, okay, why would she be advertising the movie if she's not in it?
Right.
Then at the premiere, Jennifer Love Hewitt was asked about the twist, and she was like, I can't tell you anything, but I did go back and rewatch the first two movies to make sure that like the ending works. Because that's what they were like, is the ending good? She was like, I had to make sure like the twist felt secure to me, or not the twist, but like the end felt secure. And I was like, if you have to watch the first two movies, you needed to make sure either you or Ray like had motive to do this. So then that was spoiled for me going into it too. I knew Ray was the killer, and I knew we'd get a Brandy add-on. What she didn't spoil, and maybe this is because the bitches hate each other,
right?
But she did not spoil that Sarah Michelle Gellar was in it. They all took that to the grave.
And she looked phenomenal.
She did look phenomenal.
I gasped because I had no idea she was going to be in it. And she literally, with especially like the scene she comes up in and it being kind of like a dream sequence and the Vaseline lighting, she could have been playing herself back in the day.
I know. She looked incredible. She acted it incredible. I loved that you could tell the writer was a fan of the original. Like the writer had what the character like encapsulated and brought that back to the screen. I also loved like leading up to it, because Sarah Michelle Gellar, her husband is Freddie Prinze Jr. So she was on set. She was in Australia. So like we knew she was on set, and everyone in the comments were like, oh my God, are you in it? Are you in it? And all she said the whole time, her and the director, and it's true, she was like, Helen's dead. And Helen is dead, but we got a little dream.
Yeah, that was really awesome. And I think that she is the best actress of all of them, because Ray sure did put on a Southern accent every now and again. Not consistent, but he did voice work from time to time. Of all of a sudden, he's like, well, I've been out on them docks. And I'm like, what are you doing right now, Freddie Prinze Jr.?
I think that's because the killer in the original had that. So whenever he tried to channel the scary one, because like, Happy 4th of July, Julie. Like that. Like, I think he was trying to channel that guy.
Okay.
But isn't rooted enough in like what Ray is to be able to do Ray as him. It was just him.
Yeah, it was something.
You don't think Brandy is as good of an actress as Sarah Michelle Gellar?
Donnie, we've had this conversation.
I know, but like, no, Brandy is not a good actress. However, we already know that Carla acts like that because we've already had Carla in a full movie. So like, Julie James, girl, what are you doing? Like that is bad acting, but it was just it filled me to the brim with joy to listen to her talk like that. Every time you come on screen, someone tries to kill you, girl. Like that. That is good.
I think two things can be true. We can be so excited to see Brandy in that Lord Farquaad wig, and we can also acknowledge that she's not the best actress. And maybe they're going to give her an entire sequel where she'll be one of the main people. Now, this is where I felt like, okay, I get we're doing the thing, but I felt like we were really pandering at that point with this reveal, because it's her and her husband watching the news. So we know, and it's similar to the Now and Then conversation we've had, where clearly these girls have not kept in touch, nor should they, after what they've been through together and the way that they were both bad friends to each other even back then. But like the husband's like, isn't that your college roommate? So clearly they're not even on good enough terms where he's like, oh my God, is that Julie? Do you need to text her and ask if she's okay? So they have not been in touch. Can I tell you, if my college roommate, who my husband didn't even know the name of, who we just saw on the news, the very roommate who 20 years ago ruined my spring break trip and almost got me murdered, if she showed up at my door I would say, no, thank you, and just shut the door in her face. I would not be inviting her in and being like, whose ass do we have to beat? I would say, politely, get away from me. Get away from my door.
You have a point, but, like, she did have a picture with her face crossed out that said, it ain't over, bitch, or whatever that girl said in Save the Last Dance. Now, I will say about that Brandy scene, whenever people would get up to leave at the movie theater, I did see it 7 times, whenever people would get up when the credits started and left, I was like, don't leave yet! Don't leave! If you're in line, stay in line!
So, in conclusion, this movie was my cutie of the week. They're all so cute. Cutie, cutie, cutie. So on that note, thanks for joining us this wonderful YouTube Live. If you're listening to the replay, join us another Friday.
Please.
Get comfy in the chats. And like I said earlier, our Monday episode is going to be 7. We had a delightful time covering that film.
Mm-hmm.
And we will talk to you later. Love you like a sister.
Bye.
Bye.